Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Game Changer. I'm the guy who dressed up like Chris Jericho and ended up putting so many people on the list. Nate the effing great. You know, I've said it once and I'll say it again. Cosplaying is an underappreciated art form. When you look at all the time and the effort that cosplayers have gone into creating their costumes, whether it's the makeup, whether it's the dress designs, whether it's the clothing, whether it's the wings, the weapons, everything that they do, they put so much time and effort into that. And honestly, it's just so amazing what they can come up with. It makes for a lot of really great, memorable outfits. So I thought it'd be only fair, as I've mentioned in the past, that I wanted to do a list of great cosplay attires. And who better to start off with than the one and only Miss VicTori Belle, my co-host. I'm going to show a little bit of impartialness here, you guys. It is going to be tough. There are some that I prefer over others, but at the same time, there are just some that are indeed better than others. So here it is, guys. This is my top 10 best VicTori Belle cosplays. And of course, this is completely subjective. This is completely my opinion. But just remember the fact that I have a podcast. I have a show. So for those of you that don't like it, well, na boo boo, stick your head in doo doo. I love Daniel Tosh. So we are going to start off at number 10. Harley Quinn. Alright, admittedly, I know that VicTori Belle is not a big fan of the Harley Quinn outfit that she's done. And it's one of those attires that I know that I have definitely criticized, especially when it comes to the Suicide Squad, the movie. I still am very bitter about the fact that they still won an Oscar. I get it. It was for best costume design. It wasn't for anything else. That doesn't mean anything. But I still don't care. It did not deserve an Oscar. It wasn't that good. Their makeup and their designs were not that good. But Killer Croc looked kick-ass. Okay, fine. Fine. I'll finally just lay it to rest. Killer Croc was actually pretty badass. I will admit that. I'll give it to them then. So with Harley Quinn, it definitely shows that VicTori Belle is always trying to be relevant when it came to a lot of the cosplays. And this is a perfect example of that. The outfit was great, from the tops to the bottoms to the fishnets to the boots, the bat, the wig. Everything was very on par. Now, am I to say that, I'm not a fan of it? Yeah. But am I to, overlook it? No, definitely not. It was during a time when Suicide Squad was actually still talked about. And Harley Quinn, was still a very popular topic during that time, so it made sense to do it. It was still pretty popular, and still a lot of people liked that. So I could not look past it. I couldn't put this on the list. So it's just one of those things that it had to be on. We go on to number 9, which is Catwoman. Now, obviously, you kind of look at the comparisons I have for Catwoman. We have, Michelle Pfeiffer from Batman Returns. We have the Catwoman from Dark Knight Rises. Then we also had the Halle Berry one, which a lot of people said it sucked. And honestly, even looking at it, I just think to myself, this is not what Catwoman was all about. So, to be fair, she's probably at least number 2 in this entire deal, with Michelle Pfeiffer being number 1. The way her outfit works is very well. It complements her body. It works very well with her. She has the kitten eyes. She has that kind of attitude that really fits her. I mean, she just looks absolutely beautiful. It looks absolutely wonderful. Just, the way the leather just looks on her body. It just shows off the right curves, and it looks really, really good. Really good. Absolutely amazing. Just wow, ow! Where was I for the last minute? Number 8 would be Chandra. Alright, I'm going to be fair about this. I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people are not going to like it, but I'm not really into Magic of the Gathering. I'm sorry, but I had my game and it was Yu-Gi-Oh! And then I tried Pokemon and it was still a little complicated. Magic of the Gathering seems like people are going to say, well, it's easier. It's a lot more easier than you're making it. I never really got into it. And trust me, this is not going to be the last time that I'm going to mention a Magic of the Gathering deal on this list. So just bear with me. Chandra, when I did the research on her, is actually a pretty badass character. This is a woman who literally can conjure up fire. Let me say that again. She can conjure up fire. And you're telling me that my co-host dressed up like this woman who had a red dress, looked like a badass, she had the red hair, which honestly looks very good on her. Am I saying dye your head permanently red, VicTori Belle? No. I think for this costume, it definitely works very well with you. And honestly, the redhead looks really good on you. But I'm not saying make it permanent. It's just one of those things where it's like if you bring it back every now and then, it looks great. But if you do it too much, then it's going to be one of those things where it's like, no, I'm kind of over it. And that goes with everybody. But getting back to Chandra's character, this is just one of those characters that she definitely did a fantastic job on. Again, the costume was great. She definitely looked like she could pull off this character very well. And to be fair, there has been a couple times where she has conjured up fire. I still feel the burns from those fire bolts. And, I still can't sit right sometimes. Nope, still a little tender. That hurts. Alright, so we are on to number 7. The Undertaker. And no, I'm not talking about the wrestling Undertaker, but I think that would be really cool. Honestly, this was one of those characters I really had a hard time doing research on, because I couldn't really find it. It's one of those characters that I believe that this was one of the few characters that you'll see on here that was a gender swap, and she does a really good job with this one. I mean, from the black attire, to the gray wig, to the black hat, to the makeup, it worked very well, and the scythe, oh my god, the scythe is so badass. It looks so very well done. I will say this, that I know that there are a lot of people that would love to see a female incarnation of The Undertaker in wrestling. I'm going to say this right now, as much as I love Rosemary, and maybe she could be the second Undertaker's coming, I will say this, anybody who tries to pull off The Undertaker needs to look at this cosplay and realize that no matter what you do, you will not look as badass as this Undertaker cosplay. The look just works very well. She looks menacing. She looks very well, just intimidating. It's a really good cosplay. Like I said, and the scythe completes it. It's like basically she's a female version of the Grim Reaper, and it's absolutely amazing. Just absolutely wonderful. Number 6, we have Ichigo. And I will say this, I will have to give a shout out to my co-host again for correcting me, because when we were talking after the podcast, I was talking about a couple of people that I was putting on the list, and one of them was Ichigo, but I actually pronounced it as Ichimori. So for those that want to hate me, go ahead and hate me. But again, it's one of those things where I can't really give the character due justice because I have not exactly been a fan of Bleach. I've never really gotten a chance to even watch it, so I can't really hate it, and I can't say that I love it, so I'm kind of in the neutral zone. But the pictures that I've seen, Ichigo does look like a very intimidating character, and when you look at her interpretation of it, it's a pretty badass deal. I mean, from the black dress, the white top, orange hair, and then all of the detail in the face is what makes it go together. She usually has black lips, as well as these contacts that have, I think they're red on the outside, yellow on the inside, if I'm not mistaken. It's very intimidating. It's just another one of those things where it's like, this is really good. And it really does give justice a bit to the Bleach franchise, even though some people might say otherwise. To me, it's just a very well done cosplay. I loved it. It looks really good, and it's one of those things where if she, were to show up with that costume on, I would probably be on the other side of the room. She would be that intimidating to me. So, with that, guys, now we are at the top 5. So these 5 I had to base on the fact that these were some that maybe VicTori Belle has done multiple times. Popularity-wise, people have loved it, or possibly just a lot of positive things in my eyes. So let's just go right into it. So at number 5, we have the 7 Deadly Sins. Yes, I know, this is basically cheating. My number 5 is basically 7 different cosplays. I know. I know. So, with this cosplay, it obviously demonstrates the amount of creativity that VicTori Belle has, and also the amount of time that she put into these costumes. Because, of course, you have to talk about all 7 deadly sins. You can't just pick out one and say, this is what I'm going to do. No, she went through every single one of them, and she had to make them all completely different. And you definitely looked at them, and you could tell that each of them had their own kind of personality, or they all had their different kind of attractiveness to it. Like, some people are attracted to lust. Some people are attracted to gluttony, to greed, to a lot of these other sins, especially sloth. I mean, sloth is kind of the most harmless one out of all of these, deadly sins. And she portrays that very well. I mean, she's very bright, she's very colorful, and it's kind of one of those things where sloth is basically talking about laziness. And laziness is one of those things that is so appealing to the eye that it's very hard to overlook it. So, it works out perfectly. Again, I could go through all 7 of them, but the way that she does them, each one of them have their own way of just being characterized and being presented. It's so wonderful. So very well done. And I honestly think that I could probably go into an entire podcast talking about all 7 deadly sins and what makes them that much better, that amazing. So I'm going to try and, I am trying to, keep it as crunched as I can. Definitely look out for them. They are deadly, but the way VicTori Belle plays them off, they are indeed absolutely amazing. All right, and that leads us to the number 4 pick, and that is Wonder Woman. I'm going to be honest, you guys. This is, in my personal opinion, my favorite out of all of them. And maybe some of you are surprised that, well, why is it not number 1? It's like, I love it, but at the same time, is it her best? There's 3 more that do surpass them. But this interpretation that she has of Wonder Woman, she basically was dressed as Wonder Woman before Gal Gadot made it look badass in theaters. You definitely look at her timeline. She was doing the Wonder Woman deal long before Wonder Woman even came out, and she was rocking it very well. And she is one of those people that definitely embodies what it means to be a true Wonder Woman fan, as well as representing what Wonder Woman is indeed all about. It's just a very well done deal. I mean, from the armor to the sandals to everything about her. She has her hair right. She has like the little tiara deal. She, of course, adds her context every now and then, which I always love about these cosplays, is that she does do the context, because it does kind of add a little bit of originality to the costume. So that way it's not just another, 7 deadly sins. It's not just another Ichigo. It's not just another Catwoman. It's not just another, costume. It's something that she's creating, something that she's trying, because she wants to add a little bit of her own originality to it. And that's, again, what she does with Wonder Woman. And when she teams up with so many of these great people that create weapons for her, when she has the shield, when she has the sword, it's really, really cool seeing that. It makes her into the perfect package. It's so well done. Absolutely wonderful. Like I said, Wonder Woman is my favorite, but there are a couple that do indeed surpass that. I had to be completely unbiased. I had to be really, really, I don't want to say nitpicky, but I had to, like I said, I had to be unbiased, basically. I'm just going to put it like that. We are on to number 3, which is Maleficent. No, I'm not talking about the older Disney classic Maleficent. I'm actually talking about the live-action Maleficent, which, if you listen to our earlier podcast, she definitely does talk about in great detail, and how Maleficent, the live-action version, is indeed a really good character. Now, I personally am not a fan of the movie as much, but I will not deny that Angelina Jolie was the perfect fit for Maleficent. Shape-wise, body-wise, she was perfect. She had the attitude. She had that kind of smile that Maleficent needed. She had to have that kind of personality. Angelina Jolie was the perfect one. But I will say this, that if anything, my co-host is definitely a solid number 2 when it comes down to it. And I don't think she's going to disagree with me with that. But this is one of those prime examples of the commitment that she has. Getting the horns on her head. She's got to get the right dress. And she also, this is where we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, because this is where it starts with the wings that are always just so dreadfully hard for her some days, especially if she's done it so much. But it's one of those things that it does complete the costume. It makes it very good. And this is one of the first examples that these wings are so very well done. I mean, they are stiff. They don't, flap or anything like that. But they're enough to really keep the visualization just... It makes it go crazy. It makes you think, that they look real enough that they don't need to move. So it's just very well done. We are on to number 2, which is another Magic of the Gathering deal, Death Pact Angel. So when you're a cosplayer, a lot of times what people really do that really surprises me is that they can just create these characters and they can transform their bodies so to the point that they are basically unrecognizable. And this is one of the purest examples of that, because the first time I ever saw her having this Death Pact Angel cosplay, I almost was in shock, because I was thinking, there's no way that's her. That is her, I think. But everything that she created to this, from the dress to the makeup again, to the wings, which are just able to move, it is so beautiful that they can move, and it makes for just a really epic cosplay. It makes it so much cooler. And then the one thing that will always stand out to me is almost like the lifeless contacts that she wears, the lifeless black eyes. They're kind of just staring into your soul, almost just ready to just take something. Okay, they're almost like they're kind of just ready to take your soul and take you into the dark realm. Okay, no, just take you into a dark realm where you will basically live in darkness and in fear. Okay, I need to move on. God, I'm getting those eyes again, and they are kind of freaking me out right now. Gosh, this is going to be one of those things that's going to haunt my nightmares for a while. I'm not trying to say it's bad, but it's just I'm just seeing that visualization of those eyes, and it's just one of those things like it's out of a horror movie. It's starting to freak me out a bit. Oh, jeez, that just I need to move on. I need to get out of this, because those eyes are just gonna let me stop staring at me. Gosh, this just man. But all joking aside, number 1, and honestly, in my opinion, the best VicTori Belle cosplay will go to Swamp Thing. It was one of those things that shouldn't have been a complete surprise. I definitely talk highly about this, and it rightfully has to be number 1. Because, A, it disguises her very well. There's some points where you can't even believe that it actually is her. The makeup is absolutely astounding. The design of the outfit is great. It's all green, and it works out very well. It's just a different cosplay of what Swamp Thing could be. And it's one of those things that I would love to see in a comic book, because it basically almost has like these, swamp-like wings, and she's got the moss, and she's got everything that a swamp would have. It looks absolutely amazing. She, of course, adds the red, I believe it was the red eye contact lens, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I believe that sounds right. It just looks very well done. It's one of those cosplays that needed to be created and definitely got the proper recognition. As I mentioned before, she was featured on a C2E2 highlight video. There were a lot of cosplayers that could have been picked out, but she was one of the ones that stood out. And it's one of those things where if you go back to C2E2, I guarantee there were a lot of pictures there of her just walking around, looking like Swamp Thing, and looking absolutely astonishing. So many people were just awe-inspired and completely baffled at how well done this cosplay costume worked out to be. It's just so well done. Now, again, it's one of those things where does it look exactly like Swamp Thing? No, but it's a different deal. And that's one of the things that I love about cosplayers, is that they can actually take something and they can just try to add their own kind of flavor to it. They add their own kind of spice to it. They can add their own kind of edge to it, their own kind of deal where it has more personality than what it did before. It has a different kind of personality. It's so very well done. Again, Swamp Thing is just one of the best examples of that. So you look at a lot of the earlier ones, some of them, they were kind of fitting within the status quo, but as it started going up and up and up, you kind of notice that there's more creativity to it, there's more originality to it, and that's what makes these cosplays so very well done. So that is my top 10 VicTori Belle cosplays. Let me know which ones you really enjoyed. Did you enjoy some of the ones I mentioned, or was there another one that I did not mention that you guys enjoyed more and you thought should have been higher up on the list? So let me know in the comments below whether you're listening to this on Spreaker.com or on YouTube, and feel free to show some love to VicTori Belle. Go to her Facebook fan page, give her a like, give her some comments, guys, and hell, let her know some things that you really loved about her cosplays, or even some other things that you would like to see her do. Honestly, I can safely bet that she's probably done with cosplays, but I think with, the right amount of support and the right amount of motivation, she could probably get back into it. Will she do anything too crazy? Probably not. But if there's some cosplays that you would like to see her do just for, fun, then let her know. Let her know in the comments, and let us know what you guys think. I would love to come back to an episode next week and have her just say, you would not believe the amount of comments that I got for cosplay ideas from you. Thanks. Even if she has to roll her eyes with that thank you, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm being listened, and it shows how many people love your stuff, how many people want you to continue to do it. I personally would love to see VicTori Belle do a Poison Ivy deal, because honestly, she's one of those women that could pull that off very well. Honestly, a lot better than Uma Thurman. I'm sorry, but she just didn't really fit the bill for Poison Ivy for me, and I'm looking forward to when we do get a Poison Ivy back into the, I guess you could call it DC cinematic universe, whatever they want to call it. But, time will tell. It'll take a while, but I'll get to it. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this edition of The Game Changer, you guys. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another edition, as I will be talking about wrestling throughout the week, talking about a lot of things that will be going on in the future, as well as an announcement that will be going throughout the month of November. So be sure to listen into that. I also have a very special message for my opponent at WWE Evolution, Mr. King Ricky. See you guys later. Have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. And just remember that if you have a chance, be a game changer. Bye-bye.